Welcome to today's Explainer. We're tackling something absolutely crucial today. We're talking about one of the biggest transitions happening in tech right now. We're moving away from the centralized legacy internet, the web as we've always known it, and we're stepping into the secure, sovereign era of Web 4. This isn't just some minor software update. It is a fundamental shift in how we actually exist online. So we're going to break down exactly how this shift is happening, using the architecture of Linkspreed's UID, that's Universal Integrated Identity, as our guide.
But before we get into all the nuts and bolts of Web 4, I want you to really think about something. Who actually owns your digital identity? Like right now, every time you log in or click agree on those endless pop-ups or share a photo, who really controls that data? The uncomfortable truth is that for years, your power has been slowly stripped away by massive cloud monopolies. Your identity has literally been sliced up, hoarded in isolated silos, and monetized. And the crazy part? They do it without your explicit day-to-day consent. You're the rightful owner of your data. You're the hero of your own digital life. Yet somehow, you've been locked out of the administrative control room. Well, this explainer is all about how you get those keys back.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap to getting that control back. We'll start with the broken Web 2 identity, enter Linkspreed UIID, demystify the cryptography behind it, look at securing AI and machines, and finally, explore the sovereign Web 4 ecosystem. Section 1. The broken Web 2 identity and the vulnerabilities of the legacy internet. And this brilliantly illustrates the friction of our older web infrastructure. The contrast between where we've been and where we're going is just staggering. In Legacy Web 2, your data is basically sitting there in these massive centralized honeypots, just waiting to be hacked. It's tracked constantly, meaning every move you make is cross-correlated to build this highly specific profile on you. And to top it all off, it's heavily dependent on passwords. Passwords that usually end up being your dog's name followed by an exclamation point. I mean, that is hardly the pinnacle of cybersecurity, right? Now, compare that to Sovereign Web 4. It's decentralized, which completely eliminates those massive honeypots. It's untraceable by design, and it relies on local biometric security instead of text passwords that someone can just steal. We're literally moving from a system of constant surveillance to a system of true digital sovereignty. Section 2. Enter Linkspreed UID, your sovereign digital passport. So what is UIUD? Think of it as a magical tool, a decentralized digital passport that hands the administrative authority of your data back to the person it actually belongs to, you. It entirely decouples your identity from those individual siloed corporate platforms, and it does this through 3 key architectural dimensions: a dual-layer split identity, legacy Web 2 bridging, and hardware-anchored biometric security. Let's unpack these because they're pretty incredible. The first dimension, the dual-layer split identity, is absolutely fascinating. Imagine your identity is a giant puzzle, but locked inside a highly secure master vault. That is your core ID. Now, you never actually hand this vault over to a website. No way. Instead, Linkspreed UID generates what are called context-specific aliases. You can think of these aliases almost like untraceable disguises. You put on one disguise for your banking, a completely different one for social media, and yet another one for online shopping. Because these aliases are totally separate from each other, independent corporate platforms simply can't cross-correlate your web behavior anymore. They literally cannot connect the dots to track your every move. It stops them right in their tracks. And it gets better, because UID lets you bridge the gap. You can take your traditional, easily tracked social and banking logins and actually convert them into sovereign, decoupled Web 4 keys. Once you use the system to mathematically verify your human status and sever those legacy tracking ties, you immediately unlock 100 gigabytes of secure Web 4 storage. It's a massive, tangible upgrade right out of the gate for taking back your digital sovereignty. Section 3. The cryptography behind it. Demystifying the mechanics. So the crucial point is, how does all of this actually work under the hood? Well, the whole system runs on a zero-trust model combined with localized data computation. And the engine driving that is something called zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. Basically, this is the cryptographic validation of a statement without ever revealing the foundational data strings behind it. Okay, let's make that relatable. Imagine going to a club and the bouncer needs to know if you're over 21. In Web 2, you hand over your entire government ID. You're revealing your full name, your exact date of birth, your home address, maybe even your height and eye color. The bouncer gets all of that private info just to answer a simple yes or no question. But with a zero-knowledge proof in Web 4, your device mathematically proves to the bouncer, yes, I am over 21, without exposing a single piece of your actual ID or name. You verify the fact without exposing the data. It's a real game changer.
And these cryptographic mechanisms work so brilliantly together. While zero-knowledge proofs protect your identity by verifying actions without disclosing names, WebAuthn goes a step further and replaces vulnerable passwords entirely. It uses local biometric key pairs generated right on your device, like your fingerprint or Face ID. That renders centralized password databases completely obsolete. Even if a hacker manages to intercept your data mid-transit, it's totally useless to them. Combine all that with a decoupled super process engine, which integrates your identity tokens straight into localized computing routing layers, and suddenly your global contracts, subscriptions, and logistics are kept entirely safe from the control of those cloud monopolies. Section 4. Securing AI and machines, moving beyond human identity. Let's move to and see how this builds. Because in the Web 4 era, human users are really only part of the equation. With version 2.8, Linkspreed's UIID expands its zero-trust passports far beyond just us human beings to actually support 6 specialized entity types. That means AI agents and autonomous algorithms are also issued these secure, decoupled digital passports. By extending this zero-trust provisioning to machines, the ecosystem effectively puts a stop to the credential leaks that constantly happen when machines are talking to other machines in the background.
This is huge because it directly addresses one of the most terrifying threats on the modern web: mass bot networks and deepfake profiles. We've all seen how easily legacy networks get flooded with annoying, fake, automated accounts. But because UIID relies on localized, hardware-anchored biometric security, creating a throwaway deepfake profile or spinning up 1,000 malicious bots becomes economically and technologically impossible. The system requires a physical security module and localized biometrics. You just can't fake a physical device at massive scale. This hardware security is essentially the definitive cure for the bot epidemic. Section 5. The sovereign Web 4 ecosystem and the strategic horizon. So if we zoom out to the macro level to see how this decentralization reshapes global systems, UIID integrates seamlessly with real-world compliance. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that by offering free eDOS 2.0 verification frameworks and striving for 100% KIDS Act compliance, UIID positions itself as a massive turnkey solution for businesses. This matters immensely. It means corporations no longer need to construct these redundant, isolated authentication silos. They don't have to build massive databases to hoard your private records just to verify you anymore. This decentralized architecture allows platforms to securely confirm that you are a pre-verified user without ever accessing or holding your underlying private data. Ultimately, this all drives toward one core mission: transitioning the internet away from surveillance monetization and moving it toward a secure, human-verified, and private multi-entity future. It physically returns data ownership back to where it belongs: the individual edge device, your phone, your computer. It marks the definitive end of the era where your personal life is treated as a commodity, monetized without your consent. So, I'll leave you with this one final provocative thought, echoing exactly where we began. You now know the technology exists to change the power dynamic. The sovereign Web 4 ecosystem is literally here. The zero-knowledge proofs, the split identities, the hardware security, it's all available to you right now. So, will you continue to let legacy corporations monetize your data in their centralized silos, or will you step into Web 4 and take back the master key? Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring this incredible world of digital sovereignty.